Representative Davis and I chair this committee. There was an issue. Fox News contacted me a while back about the redetermination or the lack of redetermination that was happening with private option enrollees, and so that article came out, and we've had the issue about the contracts that we know of. So there was some questions during the JPR meetings about the actual individuals that dealt with this issue with DHS, and so we're going to have those people that have dealt with it come testify and talk to Mr. Seeley. He's mentioned, I think, we'll just have the members of DHS that are going to come testify. You'll just come to the front, please. Please, for right now, just state your name and your position, please.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm Mark White. I'm Deputy Director for Department of Services, and that means that I oversee 5 of our divisions, including Division of County Operations, which handles Medicaid eligibility, as well as Division of Medical Services, which administers Medicaid.
I'm Susan Burton. I work for the Department of Human Services in the Division of County Operations, and I'm assigned to the EDF project as the Business Project Manager.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Robert Williams. I'm the Assistant Director of DCO Field Operations. I'm responsible for the operation of the county office we have out in Green.
Okay. To just try and give some timelines, because I know we had a lot of members here that were not here during the original debate of the private option, but at that point in time, we had Representative Burris, Senator Isbane, Director Seeley, who I just talked to before the meeting, that we're promising that we were going to have this great verification system in place for private option enrollees to eliminate, minimize waste, fraud, and abuse. And we found out that that just hasn't happened. And we found out in subsequent JPR meetings that you basically never had anything in place to get things going from day one with private option enrollees. So what I'd like each of you to do is just take a few minutes to explain your role, and I'd like to turn back the clock to 2 years ago when this would have been after the private option was passed. We were going through the DHS approval process, through the waivers, working on waivers, and then we go into fall with the auto enrollment. And then we jump out there, if I can remember correctly, what did 40 to 60,000 people pretty quickly were signed up by December or so. And I mean, I may not be exact with the numbers and figures, so I'd like to start with that process. What was going on individually with each one of you? What was going on with the eligibility? What communications you had? I guess basically saying, what did you do? What did you know and when did you know it when we were going through eligibility? Mr. White, can you say?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I can answer your first one fairly easily. I had just started the department in March of 2013. So I've been Deputy Director now for about 5 months. So I'm relatively new to this issue. I think I'll give you an overview of what happened in that time period and how we got to this point. Several years before the private option, the department started looking at the need for a new eligibility system. What we refer to as the eligibility enrollment framework, or EEF system, which you may hear mentioned from time to time, as well as the meetings the chairman mentioned. And that system was needed more than anything. Of course, we have a legacy system that's 25 years old, so it has some limitations and reasons for to replace that anyway. But with the Affordable Care Act, the ACA dramatically changed how Medicaid eligibility is calculated for many of our Medicaid populations. Establishes a new process known as MAGI, or Modified Adjusted Gross Income, which is how we look at a household's income, essentially the same income they report on their federal income taxes, and we use that and assign that household as the basis for determining whether or not they're eligible for Medicaid, including the private option. Our old legacy system was not set up to handle that type of calculation and that process, and so that's why we made the move towards a new eligibility system, the EEF. We began that process, building it in April of 2013. There were some contract issues, some RFP issues that have been discussed in other committees, and I'll be happy to get into those details, but I don't think it's necessarily relevant to this discussion for redeterminations. We started working on that program in April 2013. Open enrollment, if you'll remember, open enrollment when citizens were supposed to be able to log on to healthcare.gov and get their tax subsidies, apply for insurance, as well as apply for Medicaid, was to begin October 1 of 2013. That gave us a space of about 6 months to get that new eligible system up and running. That is an extraordinarily short time to get an IT system of that complexity and magnitude up and running and operational. We managed to do it, at least for the first phase, which was the ability to accept applications, determine eligibility, and get individuals placed in Medicaid. We had that up and running in time for open enrollment. And that's a good thing, because as it turns out, we all remember the many failures of healthcare.gov at the federal level in that time. Whereas we're expecting to have about 10 or 15% of applications come through our portal as opposed to that federal portal, we have almost all of them come through our portal. So our system was processing those applications, many more than expected, and it did. It worked. It was a success, and that's something that we're very happy about and proud of. And in the process, of course, it accepted them and verified them at the time. And that's one of the things that was new to the ACA introduced, is that we were verifying income real time with the Department of Workforce Services, with the IRS, to make sure that these individuals were verified, were truly eligible for benefits. Now, the problems came after that. There's some additional functionality we had to build in. The analogy I've used is, essentially, we're flying an airplane as we're building it. And one of those functionalities was redetermination. And because of the nature of things, that had to take a back seat to number one, getting folks enrolled in the first place, because that hadn't happened by open enrollment. And the second, we had to have some other functionality like changing circumstances. So as people called in, they had changes in income, changes in their family size. It would take those, process those, and make sure that we adjust their coverage accordingly. And then the third was redeterminations. We've had some issues with the EF project with that development. It's been a slow process. It's been a very frustrating process. But we finally, our vendors were able to get that functionality up and running. The code win system starting, I believe, by mid-May, was when we first introduced that initial code. We did some other work so that by mid-June, the redeterminations were going full speed and ramped up. So